Hi students, this is 8th class first lesson. The topic is force. The force in the sense you either push or pull something, then you observe that the speed of the object will change. That means you are either holding something, you are pushing something, you are pulling something. All of that needs the exertion of a push or pull. And that push or pull in physics we call it as force. And let's talk about some common examples of pushing and pulling in your daily life. Like let us say when you are sipping juice using a straw, then what is that? Is it push or pull? It is pull, right? So when you are sipping, you are using pull. And let us say this: when I erase something, pushing, pulling, both actions are occurring. Okay. So in our daily life, we use combinations of push and pull all the time. So everywhere and every time we are applying forces. The push or pull is called force. Now, the forces are classified into two types. That means the things that actually require you to touch, whether you should touch or one surface should touch another surface while pushing or pulling, such type of forces are contact forces. For example, I can't erase the board without duster touching the board. So that touch is required. So that's a contact force. And you can't hold or move anything with your hands without touching with your hands. So that also requires the touch between one surface and another surface. The touch between one surface and another surface is called contact. So the forces which require one surface to be very close to another surface are called contact forces. And there are some forces which you know that do not require any touch, but they still act. That means the force acts, which means there is either a push or a pull. Now, think of one example which requires no touch at all. Think of a force. Think of something that pushes or pulls, which does not require you to touch at all. Have you come across that any time? It's most familiar one, the magnets. The magnet doesn't require you to touch the iron nail, right? Even if the magnet is a little bit distance away from the iron nail, still the iron nail is attracted to the magnet. And also, if one magnet and another magnet, same as you have studied in your 6th class, the north pole repel, south pole repel, which means that is a non-contact force. There you see either attraction or repulsion, where a touch of the surfaces is not involved. Now, whereas if I am doing this, now this is a contact force. The force required to erase is contact force. And we are saying it is contact because the duster and the board are in contact. Now suppose this is a magnet and this is iron nail. For this attraction, do I need any contact? I can still keep them in distance, right? They can still attract each other. Such forces are called non-contact forces. So we will write the few examples here. Now, here. To touch anything, to push anything, to pull anything, you will use the strength of your muscles. That means you are using the force from your muscles. That is called as muscular force. To run, to walk, to drink water, to eat food, to lift something against the gravity of the earth. So all of that you are doing the work using your muscles. So the push or pull that you do with your muscles is called as muscular force. And just now I said lifting something against gravity. For that you will have to use some strength. To let it fall something you don't need any strength. You can just leave it, it will fall. But to lift something against gravity you need some strength. So that is muscular force. And just now itself I talked about gravity. Gravity comes under which force? Gravity comes under non-contact force because no one says or no one is required to touch the earth. If you leave something, it will fall. Even if you don't want it, it will still fall. And gravity is always attractive. Anything that is left, it will just fall on the earth. And the other one we talked about is magnetism. These two does not require any surfaces to be in contact compulsory. And Next one is friction. Now, imagine if the board is perfectly smooth and this duster is also perfectly smooth, then will I be possible? Is it possible to do this one? Think carefully. If it's somewhat rough only, then this surface will have some resistance effect on this surface. It will, small particles on this, if they are rough, and here also if it is rough, these rough particles can exactly touch and lock with these rough particles, and this action can happen. Erasing the board would be possible. Otherwise, no. So, this friction simply means that there is a certain roughness of the object. I'll tell you how it is. Before going deep into friction, let us try to understand again what is force. As we said, force is push or pull on the object. That means force should either increase the speed of the object or decrease the speed of the object, which is your common experience, because when you push something or pull something, that something's speed or that object's speed will either increase or decrease. And remember very carefully, if you are pushing or pulling something and still the object's speed did not change, that means we cannot say you applied force. We say that the force applied by you is zero. We can say that there is applied force by you only if the speed of the object changes. Otherwise, we don't say you have applied force. In the sense, when you apply push or pull, it should come to a conclusion that the object is moving and its speed will change. So, if you are trying to run on a beach, let us say, where there is a lot of sand, and you are trying to run on a racetrack, where it is easier to run? You are running on a racetrack, compare the situation with you are running on a beach full of sand. So, you will observe that it is easier to run on the racetrack than on the sand, because in the sand you face a lot of roughness. Therefore, due to roughness of the surface, your speed is increasing or decreasing? Your speed is decreasing, right? And what did I say? Anything that increases or decreases the speed of the object is simply called push or pull, and that push or pull is called force. So the roughness of the surfaces or the roughness of the objects will try to decrease the speed of the object. Therefore, the decrease in speed is due to a new force, which we call it as friction. And this is very common experience to you, that if you hold your two hands and do like this, you will see that a heat is generated, and it is difficult to move the hand like this. Not so easy. You have to exert some strength, some force. So, this is because you have your fingerprints all over here, they are rough. This side also you have fingerprints. One rough surface moving over another surface obviously will decrease the speed. Now compare this with your hand kept in water, or let us say this is air. Your hand is moving in the air, it is free to move because no other rough surface is obstructing it. But when you do like this, one rough surface is moving over another rough surface. So here what is happening? The roughness of one object is trying to stop another object from moving. Okay. Right hand where it is moving, left hand is stopping, and left hand where it is moving, right hand is stopping. Stopping in a sense, I mean decreasing the speed. And whereas here see, the hand is moving freely. So when one rough surface interacts with another rough surface, the speed of the object will decrease. And as I said, whenever there is increase or decrease in speed, there is force. Okay? Because use common sense always. When will the speed of the object increase? When someone pushes it. Or when will the speed of the object increase? When someone pulls it. When will the speed of the object decrease? When someone tries to stop it. Best example, let's take football. If you kick the football, its speed increases. That means you have kicked it with your leg. You have used muscular force. The football is coming towards you, then also you stop it with your leg. Now what happened to the speed of the ball? The speed of the ball is decreased because you try to stop it now. So using your legs, you can either increase the speed of the ball or decrease the speed of the ball. And that means you are using muscular force. Your muscular force is increasing the speed of the ball, decreasing the speed of the ball. So this is what we say that force means push or pull. And about friction, we can still say many examples. The brakes of your cycle, for example, you can see those rubber pads that you have nearby your wheels. So when you apply the brake, the rubber has a very special property. It has a very high friction, therefore it will stop the wheel easily. And in fact, that is the reason why the tires of the vehicles are also made of rubber. Rubber has very high grip or very high friction, I can say. Because if it's your daily experience, if you have the habit of watering the plants with the pipe, when you are trying to pull the pipe to water the plants, and if that pipe is stuck somewhere, it is hard to pull unless you go to the pipe and clear it, whatever wherever it is obstructed, it is hard to pull. Just pulling the rubber pipe only, you can realize that how much effect of this friction the rubber has. That is why all the vehicles are also made of rubber tires, so that they have more grip on the road. Higher the grip, higher the friction. And if tires are made of any other material, they wouldn't have the grip. There won't be any safe movement of the vehicles. So the brakes that you see in your bicycle are made of rubber pads. The tire of the bicycle itself is made of rubber pad. So basically all of this is to increase the friction. And friction has both advantages and disadvantages. We will see that in detail later. The next two types of contact forces are called tension and normal force. Now, see this one. The word normal in mathematics and physics means perpendicular. Okay, keep that in mind. Normal is another word for perpendicular. And we say normal force because we draw that force always perpendicular to the surface. Let us say this is the ground, and you have some object here, and this object is obviously being pulled downward by the gravity of the earth. Okay, and that pull of gravity is what we call in common language as weight. And the property of the force is to act and pull it. Now, the box is being pulled downward due to the earth. Then why is the box not going inside the earth? Why is it still on the ground? How do we explain that mathematically? The box is present here, earth is pulling it, and the box is still here. It is not going down inside the earth. Why? Who is stopping it from going inside the earth? Observe here, you have the ground. The ground is stopping the box from falling or going down. So this box, we can say that this box is applying another force which is balancing the weight. Now the box should not go down. That means the upward force by the surface should be equal to the weight. Then since the upward pull and downward pull are equal, the box won't go anywhere. Like for example, like I am pulling like this, right hand, left hand, same strength. Now my hands neither move up nor move down. They are pulling against each other. Similarly, here the earth is pulling the box downward and the ground is pushing it upward. Then they both are balanced. If two pushes or pulls are balanced, what happens? The object neither moves one way or the other way. The object neither moves up nor down. So these two are balanced now. So the force exerted by the surface perpendicular to the surface. See here how I have drawn. This is the direction of normal force, and this is the force exerted by the ground against the weight of the earth. So this perpendicular force is called normal force. In detail, we come to see it later. And normal force you will experience in real life in the lifts. When the lift is going up, the surface is pulling you upside. So that is where you experience the normal force in your daily life situation. Next class we will see in detail about normal force, tension, and the other two types of non-contact force, electricity See,